Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Draft and Die, where, despite all our training, we sometimes fall off. We are looking at potentially the end stages of Zoey and Jim, but trying to stage a dramatic comeback. We're going on to the Essex County Express with a character who's gotten two mental trauma, and Jim Culver, a character who's gotten one damage, or one physical trauma. So we are having a time. It's been an adventure, but we did get to upgrade with 2 experience, so I got a beat cop in on Zoe and replaced, I believe, one of our bandoliers. And on Jim Culver, I changed out a fearless for the higher education, which has been very, very bad this game. Okay, so first things first, we're supposed to draw our hands before we see what things are happening, but of course we do know what's happening, so this will not be like a major thing in terms of like ordering. Get over here, bandolier, 45 automatics, X2, if it bleeds. All really, really good cards. Get over here seems reasonably strong, since we can do stuff like maybe like move enemies that are elite to our location and then scoot past them. Although I think, can you engage an enemy that's evaded? How does that work? I don't know if it actually readies it or not. I assume it does not. It probably stays exhausted, but isn't disengaged. Oh, that's really interesting. Yeah, so if it bleeds is okay, since we get to heal horror equal to the enemy's horror value. That's actually now going to be a pretty necessary part of our toolkit. We definitely want the 45 automatics. Honestly, we do want both of them, so it's a hard call as to whether or not we should take both of them right now, or try to actually get one of our allies in stock. My inclination would be to just take both guns, make sure that we have the ability to play those guns, and then just go for it. We do need like some econ though, so I'll go ahead and toss one card aside, get a beat cop. Beautiful. And beat cop gives us extra fight as well as the ability to deal more damage to enemies testless, which super, super strong. Pretty happy with that. All right, changing color, we're going to good old Jim, shuffle up, draw 5. All right, I am going to use the changing color. I didn't really end up liking going into black hat mode. Okay, so Final Rhapsody gets set aside and we draw a new card. We got 2 emergency caches and the level 5 Rite of Seeking and a Fire Axe, so this actually looks like just an insanely strong hand. I could set aside the sneak attack, because we're not really going to be doing a lot of dodging, and sneak attack's just kind of bad for Jim, so... Scrying Mirror, okay, cool. Reveal the Chaos tokens before, and we'll be able to figure out what we need to commit. That could be helpful. I don't think it's a bad idea. Okay, with that, let's get into it. The Essex County Express, assuming we haven't done Armitage's Fate. Okay, so Armitage's Fate was... Okay, Miskatonic Museum, we're all good. Essex County Express. Recent events in the museum have forced you to reevaluate Armitage's tale about Dunwich. It cannot be a coincidence. Wilbur Whately, the Necronomicon, the creature from Dunwich, and the people and creatures who attacked here in Arkham, everything must be connected. You're certain now where you must head. The lonely and dismal town of Dunwich Village. You consider telling the Massachusetts State Police what you know, but given the negative consequences outweigh the potential gain. Given the nature of your story, they would likely write your stories off as an absurd hoax. Worse, they could lock you up. After all, you were present in an illegal speakeasy, and you also trespassed in the museum. Instead, you decide to head to Dunwich yourself in order to investigate further. You pack everything you think you might need, and manage to get some rest for the night. In the morning, you head to the train station in Northside and purchase a last-minute express ticket. Dunwich is several hours by train northwest along the Miskatonic River Valley. There is no train station in Dunwich, but you manage to phone one of Armitage's acquaintances in the small village, a man by the name of Zebulon Whately, who was present during the events several months ago. Armitage's notes indicate that the Whately family is spread across many branches, some decadent and unscrupulous, others undecayed or otherwise untouched by nefarious and diabolic rites. According to Armitage, Zebulon's branch of the family lay somewhere in between the decayed and undecayed Whateleys, who knew of the traditions of his ancestors, but were not corrupted by them. He agrees to pick you up at the closest station and drive you into town. As the train departs from Arkham, you feel the events of the previous night catching up to you and exhaustion sets in. But before you can safely reach your destination, the train car suddenly rumbles and shakes, startling you out of your reverie. The train loudly skids to a violent halt, and you hear a rattling noise behind you. Encounter sets should be put together. Shuffle them up. Put one of the 3 engine car locations into play at random. Remove the other versions from the game. Then put 6 of the 8 train cars into play at random. 1, 2, 3... These ones are gone. 6 of the 8 train car locations in a straight line to the left of the engine car. Remove the remaining 2 from the game. Well, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's our train cars. The rest of them go away. Reveal the leftmost train car. Each investigator begins play in that location. That location has a force effect that triggers upon entering that location. Ignore it. On hard, we add another -4 to the bag. Parlor car. Connected to the locations to the left and right of it. Can't be investigated, but you can spend 3 resources to discover a clue in the parlor car. Alright, what is this? You can't enter a train car unless all of the clues on the location to the left have been discovered. So, getting out of here is going to be interesting. That should be a lot of fun. Notably, I don't think there's a way to actually get both clues and then leave on the first turn. I don't know if Ancient Evils is in this one, is it? Ancient Evils is in this one. Huh. Well, if the Doom flips at 2, and we can't actually leave the train in that much time, that'll be interesting. All right. Well, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Add it in. Yep, we're all okay. So with that, I think we're ready to rock and roll. We shuffled the encounter cards, moving on the train from left to right. And whenever a card says location to the left or left or right, it refers to your location or left or right, which is important when you're playing on a tabletop with everybody sort of like at different locations. Sometimes people are playing on this side, so yeah, just notable. But in this case, left is left, right is right for the most part, except when left is down and right is up. Okay. With that, we get into it. So let's go ahead and start with our lead investigator, Zoey. Zoey, you got a beat cup, you got a bandolier, and you got a 45 automatic. Having the beat cup down gives you straight +1 fight, plus the ability to deal damage to enemies at your location, which seems really strong. I think that's probably better even than getting the 45 down this early. Notably, you can't really have both guns and actions, which is a little bit icky. I think actually we do want to start with Jim, because Jim's better off starting at this location. Action 1, emergency cash, right? 6, 7, 8. And then action 2 and 3, pay resources to grab both clues, since these locations can't be investigated. All right. You can't enter a train car unless all the clues on location to the left have been discovered. This one's worth victory points, so at least we get that bonus going on. And from there, that is Jim's entire set of actions. I like that we've had the mystic tokens on him for a bit. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so here's something cool. I asked about linking the Mythos tokens together because we like to have this extra Mythos token up here so we can see what phase it is in this little box in the bottom left. And I asked on the Discord about it for the people who make this mod, and you know, the various people who sort of work together on this kind of thing. And somebody just made one for me. So like kind of amazing. So when we're in the investigation phase, which is where we are, it'll actually swap there as long as I use the right click. It doesn't work with number keys, which is typically how I change phases. So we'll have to change up some of our strategies a little bit, but that should work really, really well and will allow us to, yeah, effectively change both buttons without having to fiddle too much. So we won't have inaccurate information, which I really like. All right, Zoey, action 1, going to play a beat cup because we want to get on out of here. And then action 2, Zoe's going to move to the train car. Let's actually get those tokens into place so that we know where people are. Oh, also, it might do to read the act and agenda. All right, agenda. Where there's smoke. As the train to dungeon comes to a jarring stop, you look at the window behind you and see an immense tear in the sky, like a rip in a piece of cloth. From this tear, a winged beast emerges. It lets out a painful screech and descends upon the train. Train stopped high on a bridge high above the Miskatonic River. You might be able to survive the fall, but you don't like your chances. Your best bet is to make your way to the engine car as fast as you can and get the train running again. The investigator enters the engine car, immediately advance. All right, so Zoey, action 1, put the B cop down. Action 2, go to the train car. Train car connected to the locations to the left and right of it. After you enter the passenger car, either discard cards in your hand with at least 2 total book icons. I don't have that. Or take 2 horror, which that hurts. I'll put 1 on that and 1 on the B cop. So Zoey's at 3 out of 6 horror, but does have an if it bleeds in hand. Notably, we also needed to pay 4 for the beat cop. But apart from that, I think we're good. And we specifically let the Seeker pay for all this stuff because the Seeker has the emergency cash in hand to offset the costs. But that is the end of our round. So from here, we go to enemy phase. Nothing happens. Then we follow up with upkeep, resource and a card, resource, and a card. And checking, that's going to be Moonlight Ritual. Okay, cool. Moonlight Ritual is not a terribly strong card, but Jim's deck is full of not terribly strong cards. It's going to be the one that really gets better with upgrades. All right, we go to Mythos. That means we add the Doom up by 1, and then encounter cards. Click here. Yep. Acolyte spawns at any empty location. After it enters play, you get to place a Doom on it. So that goes here, I think. Notably, this is not a huge problem for us. I might even put it further ahead in the train because it's something for Zoe to fight for reasons, so that should be fine. Yeah, I think I'm fine with Acolyte being there. So it gets a Doom, but notably the agenda's going to advance in just a second here, so I'm not hugely concerned with it. Okay, Jim, what have you got? We did shuffle the encounter deck, right? Yes, we did. All right. Despite that, we summon another Acolyte over here. Shuffle that again just to be sure. I know I shuffled it, though. I remember doing so. All right, anyways. We are good to go. That was the Mythos phase. Doom went up. And now we go to the investigation phase. Jim needs to get out of this car, because bad things could happen there. All right, Jim's actions are... When he enters the car, he's going to take some horror, unless we discard something with 2 books on it. Moonlight Ritual and Scrying Mirror are actually fine for this. Not taking much horror early would be nice, but Jim's not hugely concerned either way. I think Emergency Cash for sure. Get up to 6. Play Rite of Seeking. Get up to 1. And then let's leave this back car, because bad things are happening. Okay, so after you enter the passenger car, either discard cards with books, so the 2 Scrying Mirror, the Scrying Mirror and the Moonlight Ritual. Neither of which I'm really using right now. I think I can do that. It seems like a reasonable price to pay to not take horror, and it's not like we're going to use it for book value tests, so... Okay, that's fine. So that's Jim's investigator phase. Flip, flip, flip. Just to be sure that we can keep track. Zoe's investigator phase. Now, Zoe really wants to gain some resources, right? That's part of the thing that we're looking for. It would be also really nice to play Bandolier, prepared for the worst, and get like some boxing gloves down, but resource gun is not a bad choice, and neither is anything that actually gets us to more cards in hand for the test we're going to take. I think I like draw a card, stand together, 2 resources and 2 resources for Jim. And then from there, we can do 45 automatic, which gives us a gun. That feels great. Okay. That is Zoe's turn. Flip, flip, flip. So we go to the enemy phase. During the enemy phase, neither of these guys do anything. Upkeep phase, resource and a card. A deduction for Zoe, so Zoe can get some good book values going. That'll be nice. For Jim, gonna be something else. Looks like Voice of Ra. Cool, more resources, always nice. Although we've got the Fire Axe now, so we're kind of actually looking to go down on resources every now and then. Okay, that's upkeep. Mythos phase. Doom goes to 2. Oh, that's the... Yeah, that's what's supposed to happen. Mythos, Doom goes to 2. And encounter cards, 1. Resurgent Evils. Draw the top 2 cards of the encounter deck or place a Doom on the current agenda. Oh, the agenda does advance. We actually have to do that before encounter cards. That's not how... All right, let's put that in Jim's thread area and then figure out what it was in just a second here. But first things first, let's actually resolve whatever this is. The Conductor, Beast from Beyond the Gate, spawns at the leftmost location. Hunter Massive, when the Conductor is defeated, attached to the current agenda. After you advance the attached agenda, draw the Conductor. When the Conductor's location leaves play, instead of discarding the Conductor, move it 1 location to the right. That's horrible. Okay, it's got 4 health. It's got Hunter and it's massive, so it's going to chase us and deal damage to us. If Zoe had stayed behind, she'd be in a position to fight this thing, but I didn't realize this thing was going to be happening. All right. Well, that's really yikes. Let's try and get out of here as fast as we can, if we can. Zoe will definitely eventually deal with this thing, but I think like ignoring it for a couple turns is fine. Oh man, That's gonna be a thing. We'd really like to ideally not have it advance on us and like attach to the agenda, because like that just seems like it'll be a pile. It's gonna be something to manage. Okay, so anyways, now we go to encounters. So Research and Evils for Zoe, which is either draw the top two cards of the encounter deck, place a doom on the current agenda. This effect can cause the current agenda to advance. I think I'm fine with placing a doom on this agenda at this point, because Ancient Evils is also in the top cards of the encounter deck, right? Oh no, Research and Evils replaces it. We'll have a little less time to get out of the train, but also like this agenda will advance and the conductor will move into the rightmost location, which is what we want, I think. Yeah, the conductor's going to move here and then the car is going to disappear, so that seems right. The force of the gale grows with the presence of the winged beast. Several of the rearmost train cars are pulled backwards, and there's a dreadful metallic crunch as they are detached. The train cars topple upwards and into the rift in the sky. Nearby passengers are panicking, others are cowering in their seats, and one elderly man has fainted in fear. Okay, so that is the other thing. Haunting Recollections. For each card in your hand, if there's a copy in your discard pile, take a horror. If you take no horror, discard the top of the cards to your deck. Oh, always exciting. Do we have sorcery in this thing going on? Okay, we used both emergency caches, so just discard the top three. 1, 2, 3. There goes Fearless level 2, the upgrade that we got, the only experience we spent. Not that it matters too much, but... Alright, that wraps up the Mythos phase. Investigation. Okay, so investigation-wise... Zoe's got deduction, but I believe it's up to Jim to really clear clues here. So let's go ahead and do that. Action 1. Rite of Seeking will be 6 against 3. We can commit Voice of Ra to make it 7 against 3. There's 2 -4s, so I think maybe draw a card here, Jim. Kukri. Oof. I don't want to go in for a bad test here. We are in a hurry. Let's draw another card. Voice of Ra again. I don't need the resources, so let's investigate. Investigate 5, 6, 7 against 3. That beats the 4s. Okay, I should have actually just investigated twice, but that's fine. 7 against 3. Should be fine. -2 succeeds. So that means we pick up 2 clues from this location. Alright, and that was Jim's whole turn. Draw, draw, investigate. Zoe, hi. You can potentially investigate with a bad book value. Jim could potentially help you depending on what he's got. He doesn't have much, though, so that's not going to happen. I think we're looking more for books here. Prepared for the Worst is 2 books, so the full investigation would be 4 against 3, which it has a chance of succeeding, but I think I'm happier if I'm doing other things. Also, notably, you should have paid for your 45 automatic. Always remember to do that. We're not doing Get Over here right now. We're just trying to get out of this car before the big old monster comes down on us. Which it's going to do, actually. So maybe what I want to do is... Now, if I kill it, it'll spawn in this location anyways. We defeat it. We heal horror equal to its horror value, which is 1 horror. Alright, so Zoe draws a card. Smite the Wicked. Discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until an enemy is discarded. Attach Smite the Wicked to that enemy and spawn it at the location farthest from you. Okay, so... Flip. Flip. Wizard of the Order. Oh. Oh, no. That spawns in the engine car. That's potentially game ending. Like if it had been an acolyte or something, would be fine. But I'm not far enough into the train to spawn it in the back cars, and if it's in the engine car, it's just going to gain a doom at the end of every Mythos phase, which is going to advance every Mythos phase twice as fast. I think this might be the end of us. Zoey, goodness. All right, well, that was a card draw. Let's try drawing again. Cool, it's glory. I will commit a deduction, a glory, and a prepared for the worst to this. So we're just going to test 1, 2, 3 bonuses against 4 bonuses. So 6 against 3. -3 succeeds. Pick up 2 clues. Good job, Zoey. Everything is terrible. Oh no. Okay, enemy phase. Well, the conductor. Oh god, the conductor moves into our location, and then it attacks us, which is 1, 2, and then 1, 1, 2, and then 1, because it's a hunter, and that's the end of that phase. Upkeep. We gain a resource and draw a card. Vicious Blow, that's a strong one. Gain a resource, draw a card. Looks like Paranoia, discard all your resources. Yeah, we got a bunch. Yeah, like all of those are legitimately earned. Okay, farewell. Okay. It's not like a huge addition, but it's definitely something. Mythos phase. The doom goes up to 2 and the agenda advances. The rearmost car of the train detaches as it is pulled backwards. To your horror, it rises off the tracks and is consumed by the gate above you. Remove the leftmost location from the game, or place it in the victory display if it has victory X and no clues on it. Each investigator at that location is defeated. Each enemy and asset at that location is discarded. Discard all clues controlled by investigators. So, Barlakar, bye-bye. Evade is actually like really, really good in Return to Dunwich, it turns out, because like the hunting horror is much nastier, and the conductor is another like pretty persistent enemy that you have to deal with constantly. So being able to evade it and make sure that it doesn't like constantly come at you is actually really big. Discard all clues controlled by the investigators, so all the stuff we just picked up is gone. Not that that matters, it's just a, we only care about it in terms of like what cars are missing. Okay, the mob widens, the terror grows larger, and you can feel the rearmost car of the train shaking as it is pulled backwards. The situation threatens to erupt into chaos as more passengers realize the danger they are in. Some passengers are looking for places to hide, while others are running about the compartments in terror. Okay, that ends the encounter phases next of the Mythos. So Zoey gets a grappling horror, can't move, cool. Claws of Steam, test 3 will. If you fail, you take 2 damage and you can't move from this location this round. Damage from this effect must be assigned to your assets first if able. Oh, that's gross. It's a will test for Jim, though, so it's 4, 5. Assuming I don't want a voice revolve for... Yeah. I think we're fine. Did we not do upkeep? Because Jim doesn't have any money. Oh, right, he drew the... Oh, this is actually an interesting fact. Paranoia says discard all your resources. It is actually... I always say gain a resource, draw. We recently checked the rules. It's draw, gain a resource. So Jim does actually have a resource, notably, which is cool. In any case, Voice of Raw here would give us 5 against 3 to avoid us taking 2 damage and not being able to move. That's fine. I'm into that. I'm committing it from Zoey's hand because I just drew it into Zoey's hand. Beep. Okay, that's a bless, so it's a skull or not, and either way we succeed. Lovely. Good job. Damn. Well done. Okay. So this thing's here. Evading it would definitely be good if we could do that. We can both move out of this train car if we need to. So if we can evade, then we're in good shape. But anything we do, I believe, does provoke attacks of opportunity aside from fighting it, so it's probably up to Zoe to just go crazy. Okay, I've got +1 fight, so 5, 6 against 3. Oh, the grappling horror's here too. Oh, sorry. We're in the investigator phase, but before the end of the mythos phase, we have to place 1 doom on this Wizard of the Order right here. We're at the end of the mythos phase. Okay. Zoe, you are fighting things for sure. Yeah. It's to exhaust the beat cup to deal an extra damage, so it doesn't matter which one we throw it at. We're definitely going to have to fire 3 bullets this round. 5, 6, 7 against 3 against the conductor. 0 succeeds, 3 damage to the conductor. And I'll exhaust beat cop to deal another damage to the conductor. And that kills the conductor for the moment. It will spawn again very shortly. Shoot again. This time 6 against 3. Against the grappling horror. 0 succeeds, that's 2 damage. I can take a damage and a horror from it, probably, but I would rather... I want to punch at 5 against 3. It saves us a bullet, which we're going to need for the conductor. Yeah, I'm inclined to punch at 5 against 3. If we fail, we can deal a damage to the B-Cup next turn, so 5 against 3. -3 does not succeed. Okay, well, Jim can maybe do something about that. We'll see. Hey, Jim. If you fire axe, then you can attack. But I think the correct turn is draw, draw. Okay. And then move into the next card. Oh, wait, there's an blade in there. Draw, draw, play fire axe. Wee. Okay. This could be pretty quick. Enemy phase. Damage and horror is dealt to Zoe. I should have used if it bleeds here, but I think we're okay. Doom goes up to 1. It's actually at 2 because of the Wizard of the Order during the... Oh, sorry, upkeep. Resource and a card. Resource and a card. Card is... Alyssa Graham. Okay, I'm gonna give us some books, I guess. Okay, Doom goes up to 2, or 1, which means it's actually at 2 because of Wizard of the Order. And then encounter cards are dealt. So he gets Resurgent Evils. So draw 2 encounter cards. Helpless Passenger, okay. Put into play at the location to your left. You can parlay to take control of it. If it leaves play, each investigator takes a horror, which will kill Zoe. Idle Hands, put it into play in your threat area. If it's in your threat area, during your turn you can take 2 damage and discard Idle Hands. Take an additional action this turn, which we're definitely going to do. Jim. Mysterious Chanting. Place 2 doom on the nearest cultist enemy. There are no cultist enemies. Search the encounter deck and discard pile for a cultist and draw it. Oh, I cleared all the doom when I advanced the agenda, so this doom doesn't exist at the moment, but now it does. It's 2 more doom. Doesn't really matter because the agenda is going to advance at the end of the next round anyways, but that's something, I guess. Okay. So the parlay's just an action. Not a huge deal. Jim can do it pretty easily. That's Mythos, now Investigation. Zoe, I I think exhaust speed cop here. Goodbye. That's gone. So no actions. Then Zoe moves into the next car, where she might die. After you enter the passenger car, you must either discard cards when you have at least 2 speed, or take 2 damage. Don't have 2 speed, so 2 damage it is. That's fine. Kick an Acolyte, 5 against 3. Uh-oh, I don't like that. -2, add a Doom token to the nearest cultist enemy. So we add a Doom to the nearest cultist enemy, which is this one, and then we kick it in the face and it dies. Good. Good. That should also be in the discard pile. Alright, good job, Zoe. I did defeat a monster this turn, so I'm going to go ahead and do If It Bleeds. The grappling horror has 1 horror on it, so... Zoe's helpless passenger is still on this location. Okay. Discard idle hands, go to 7 damage. And we're going to draw a card and investigate 2 against 1. Are we going to live and learn just to get a single clue? I mean, we have to clear all the clues, so... Investigate 2 against 1. Cultist, what are you? If you fail and it's your turn, lose all remaining actions and end your turn immediately. We do not. Okay, so we kicked, moved, kicked cultist, investigated. Now we get to investigate 2 against 1 again. -1 succeeds, we get another clue. All right, that's really good. I like that. Jim, hi. You're gonna parlay with the helpless passenger. I didn't realize that it's Surge. Zoe need to draw another encounter? Probably. You have no clues, need for knowledge gain Surge, which it definitely does. Yeah, it didn't have that when the bystander came down, so it surges and that messes things up in weird ways. Okay. How do I resolve this? So it would have been easier for Zoe to hit those -1s and just kill the grappling horror with the 45 automatic. I think what I need to do is just let it be in my encounter area this turn. So instead of investigating twice, I'd have shot my gun twice. Or shot once and then kicked, both at -1, which would have killed the grappling horror. But I don't think that's the appropriate way to roll this back. Because I would have had the 4th action to move into this location, so I'm not dead if I do that. I just put the 2 clues back, and the grappling horror goes away. But that's replacing actions. I don't like that. I think I leave the grappling horror in my threat area and just call that good. And then we deal with encounters and stuff and take the damage and the horror, which puts Zoe very close to death. Yeah, bystander having Surge was something that we didn't see. Okay, Jim. Yeah, I think Jim's going to do other things instead. So Jim, we're going to move. You got the bystander, right? So now you move. And then for your last action, we're going to Fire Axe the Beastie. For 5, 6, 7 against 3. -3 succeeds. That's 2 damage to the Beastie, which is still not dead because it's a annoyingly 3 health card. Okay, that's our turn. Zoe, enemy phase. Zoe takes a damage and a horror, which doesn't quite kill her, but gets pretty close. Would that I could do it to the B cup, but I think I have to exhaust the B cup. Upkeep. Resource and a card. Resource and a card. Final Rhapsody. Okay, so we reveal 5 Chaos tokens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a skull, so we take 1 damage and 1 horror. Can put it on the Helpless Passenger if we want to. I think we're okay, though. Mythos. Doom goes to 2, but there's also 2 Doom on this guy. So that's 3, so the agenda advances. The next chain car is ripped backward with violent force. A middle-aged man hangs from his fingertips as the car flies unhindered towards the rift. In moments, the car is consumed whole, and the man lets go rather than be pulled into the void. He starts to fall, but is caught by the rift's force and pulled inside it anyways. Move the leftmost location from the game, or place in the victory display if it had victory X and no clues on it. Each investigator at that location is defeated. Each enemy and asset at the location is discarded. Discard all clues. Where did we remove them to? Okay, we put that one in the victory. This one just goes gone. The pull of the rift in this guy seems to grow stronger, and the entire train is beginning to roll backwards along the tracks. The rearmost cars of the train begin to rattle, and the force of the rift threatening to detach them. You must get out of these cars as fast as you can. Okay, it says cars. I believe it's the next 2 cars that go after this, so we have to get out of here. The main problem with that is that, like... There's still 4 clues left on this location, and then there's going to be more clues on this location. The Doom is at 0, but it's going to add an extra... I guess we get 3 turns because of the Wizard. Because the Wizard will put at the end of both turns. So we'll get 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. But the 4 will happen on the second round. So we're only losing 1 more round to the Wizard. But this is still a very, very bad time for Zoey Smite the Wicked. Okay, that's... Mythos. Encounters. Another Helpless Passenger with Surge. Emergent Monstrosity spawns at the location to our right. Enters play exhausted, notably. That's all bad. Especially since Zoey dies if the Helpless Passenger dies. Okay, Jimbo. Need for knowledge. If you have no clues, gain Surge, otherwise test X, where X is the number of clues you have. Okay, gain Surge again, because Jim's, I think, out of clues right now. Mysterious Chanting. Place 2 Doom on the nearest cultist. At the end of... Okay, so now I have 3 Doom. 1 on the Wizard, and 2 on this cultist here. This is how it ends, I think. I think after we lose 3 in a row, we resign. Everything's gone pretty well. I mean, we're still doing an okay job here. So, can do this anytime. Lightning Bolt phase, kill the grappling horror. 5e cup. It was nice knowing you. You're also my only horror soak, which is a little bit frustrating. Each investigator takes a horror if Helpless Passenger leaves play. So notably, if you have 1 Helpless Passenger, you can chain them. And it doesn't quite work because somebody's going to take 2 horror, but it's nice. Jim, once again, failing to trumpet for Zoey. He's just never once had his trumpet at a time that it matters. Like, you would think that his horror healing would be great, but he just never manages to do it. Zoey got Zoey's Cross and Upkeep, which I actually love. Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. I haven't even been keeping track of the resources she's been gaining from that kind of stuff, which I really should be. All right, so Jim first, right? Well, yeah, it's got to be Jim first because we need to investigate, but then we need to move into that location, which means we're going to have an acolyte on us, which is not what we want to do because Zoey wants to engage that thing. Okay, Jim first. Hi, Jim. So you've got a right of seeking here. This is 6 against 1, we're fine. -4 succeeds, grab 2 clues. Six against 1 again. -4 succeeds, grab 2 clues. move into this location. After you enter it, you must either discard 2 fight worth of icons or take a damage. Honestly, I could take the damage, but yeah, overpower. Zoey, your actions. Action 1, Zoey's cross. Action 2, move into this location. Action 3, engage the Acolyte, gain a resource, spend a resource, deal a damage to the Acolyte. Acolyte's dead. That's all of our actions, though, leaving us alone with... Now, I forgot to spawn the big monster when the agenda advanced. So he should be here. And he'll kill Zoey unless she shoots him with the automatic twice and then moves, which at that point the agenda advances anyways. So shoot, move would be what we do, but then it doesn't matter because then we have 2 on the Acolyte, 1 on the Wizard, and we have to flip the agenda, at which point the 2 leftmost locations are both removed from the game. So that looks impossible. That's an impossible situation. The train cars get sucked in, or Zoey gets killed by the conductor, one or the other, and I think that's where we resign. Interesting. So we're going to put Zoey and Jim in the dead pile. They don't technically die here, I believe. I believe if you're at the end of the scenario, you just get sucked away and something bad happens. At least one investigator was defeated. A bunch of bad stuff happens. If no resolution was set up, the investigators are delayed on their way to Dunwich, which is really bad. But we also get a madness, and yeah, it's all pretty bad. But mainly the thing is that we'd get 1 experience for this round, and also have something bad going into the next one. And also, like, we haven't gained any experience. We've got so much trauma on us because we got an extra damage and an extra horror, I believe. 1 bonus experience, which is kind of neat. So actually, I guess we get 2. But I think 2 experience and yet another trauma is probably enough that we are going to go ahead and call it for Zoey and Jim. This looks pretty unwinnable at this point. So, like, basically with Dunwich, I think it's the first 5 scenarios that just won't kill you at all. Like, they just won't. And then on 6, 7, and 8, you can just die immediately, which is A+. But honestly, I'd rather be dead for failing this badly. Okay. So, we'll resign. Zoey and Jim fell off the train, and they're added to the first. That only makes 3 that have died so far. Roland, Zoey, and Jim. But we'll have to go back and try again with a new set of investigators. Let's go ahead and draft those right now, figure out who it is we're playing next. But gonna be an exciting times. Okay, it says Roland Banks. Is there actually a Roland Banks in this pile? Nope, it's just a weirdly named pile. Can I rename the pile? Yeah. Let's see here. I'll bet I can rename the pile. Hang on a sec. Shuffle, cut, spread, draw. Kind of seems like I might need it to be even higher up here. There we go. Easily done. All right, so we got 1, 2, 3. Parallel Agnes Baker. Spell events for damage. Pretty fun. Good at some things, bad at others. Rex Murphy, the reporter, supposedly an insanely strong investigator, discovers just an incredible amount of clues very, very quickly by succeeding skill tests very commonly. Can also draw a bunch of cards, which is always awesome. I'm pretty inclined to take Rex. He's just a super powerful investigator, and also that gives me a chance at a Guardian Seeker pair, which I wouldn't say Guardian Seeker pairs are always the best, but they do tend to do really well. Also, Rex actually has 3 speed, which that's nice. Rex should not have 3 speed, but I am pretty happy with that. This is a once per turn investigation. I wonder if there's actually a taboo version of that I can put in place. Well, we'll figure it out. Okay, Nathaniel Cho, Daisy Walker alternate, and Winifred Habermock. Okay, Winifred Habermock is great, but can't make will tests, which is a big deal in this campaign in particular. If she could dodge Umordos Wrath or something like that, then that would be better, but I think she'd end up discarding a few too many cards from her deck because she draws so much, and characters who draw a lot are also in a lot of trouble here. Daisy is weird. Parallel Daisy is just very, very difficult to play and is focused around a lot of tome assets that we might not have access to yet. Nathaniel Cho is, for my money, the best investigator in the starter decks and in the core sets, and probably in Dunwich. Like if we were comparing all 15 of these investigators, the one I'd want to draw the most is Nathaniel Cho, because he's really capable of beating up enemies very quickly. He's got a high will score, which is really, really nice. His books is 2, which is fine for a Guardian. Like, it's better than 1 at the very least. But because he can play so many events, he can play evidence, he can play other things to pick up clues, and he can play them for relatively cheap because he just keeps picking them up and getting them off of other options. So Nathaniel and Rex seems like a powerhouse for Dunwich, and if we can't win with these two investigators, well, we're going to learn a lot about why it is that we're losing, I think, in that case, because these two are very, very strong and possibly the best investigators in these 15 cards. So, yeah, so here's our two new ones. We'll do the drafting for that on the next Draft and Die. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.